Hey, welcome back to Lady Tradie. Today I will be painting a wall. So I'm going to talk you through the basic process of painting a feature wall, but obviously these skills will apply to painting any wall or all the walls. So stay tuned, we're here with a friend of mine today and we're doing this for her. To clean, you need to get yourself some sugar soap and a bucket of water and a nice cloth and give the walls a really good wipe down and then let them dry. To paint, we obviously need to have our paint, we need to have our paint tray, our masking tape, our paint roller, and a cutting in brush, and this clever little device which helps do the edges. Now I've chosen to use a microfiber roller today as opposed to one of these, so you can buy these relatively cheaply, but the fluff that comes off these and sticks to your wall is really annoying, whereas these ones don't have that problem. Now start by using your cutting in brush and go down that side wall where it's joining with the other wall. Go as close as you can into that corner, keeping the line as straight as possible. When you come down here, just try to get it as close as you can.
Yeah.
Like without scratching the paint off there.
Yeah. All right.
Where are you at? Whoa, what are you doing, woman?
What do you mean?
Look at all the patchy spots.
Yeah, just trying to make it stick.
Two coats won't hide some damage. Here, give me the roller. Ah, rookie.
I am. She wants to I'd be happy to just sponge it in a corner or something like that. I'm willing to experiment.
Sponge what?
Like
green clouds.
Not do a straight edge, do it like a...
No!
No, I'm not allowed to experiment.
What hippie bullshit are you talking about?
I'm just the lucky you make it.
This is all about learning. So you can change direction. Well, hang on, let me rephrase that. Your mother was right. Don't go like that and then that.
No way.
Yeah. And don't go over it too much, because if you keep rolling over it, you start lifting it back up instead of, putting it on.
Right the first time.
Now if you're choosing to use the edging pad, gently dip it in the tray of paint. Don't squish it into the paint or submerge it. You just want to get a little light coating of paint onto the pad itself. Also make sure you keep the wheels of the pad nice and clean so that you're not running paint along your cornice at the top. Now I always still come along with the edging brush because I find that the edging pad leaves 1 or 2 millimeter gap at the top, and that little line in between my cornice and my wall really bugs me, so I like to use the edging brush just to finish it off. I also find it really helpful to feather down. So when you've gone across and edged all the way around, top and bottom, feather it out a little bit so you don't end up with harsh lines. Even if you roll it fairly soon afterwards, you do still end up with a line underneath that layer of paint.
In between coats, while we're letting it dry, we're going to just glad wrap our roller. Somehow, we cut it off the box. Okay, so glad wrapping it just means it's not going to dry out. No. But also saves us washing up in between. If you wash this, you're going to use copious amounts of water.
And wasting paint.
And you're wasting the paint that it's absorbed. And then when you go to reuse it, even if you squeeze all the water out, it's still going to be a little bit watery on the first few strokes.
Okay, that's what I want to do with this one.
It's all good. Honestly, that'll be fine. The other tip that I have as well is don't wash your pan. So we're going to leave 2 hours in between coats. This will dry in that time. Now I've used up every last drop that was in here. And I'm just going to let this dry because then it will just be like a film on there and I can just pour straight on top of that and go for it again. I mean, you can wash it. These are really easy to wash. Often I just wash it when I wash my brush and I get my brush in there and give it a good scrub around. It's no big deal if you do want to wash it, but I just find it saves a lot more time just to let it dry out and then just go for round 2. However, if you're doing round 2 too soon and this is not entirely dry, you may end up with tacky, sticky bits of paint in between. So think about how you're going to go ahead and do this. If it's going to be the next day, just let it dry out. If you're going to do it half an hour later, wash it out so you don't get little lumps inside of it. The only thing I really do wash in between coats is my cutting in brush. So I'm going to go do that now. It's so green.
Well, you know you've done a good job when your drop sheet is still this clean.
So, coat 2 done. Now we get to do the big grand reveal, pulling off the masking tape. That is the most exciting part of painting for me. But I just want to point out that if you are a novice and you're new at doing this kind of thing, if you get some paint on the cornicing up the top, most hardwares will sell a really small tub of sealing white that you can buy for a few dollars. Get yourself some sealing white and a really small fine brush, and you can go over just that little lip, that little edge that is connecting the cornice with your wall, and touch it up and it will look grand. So let's do it. I always recommend peeling off the masking tape as soon as it's dry enough to do so. The longer you leave it, the more likely you are of ripping up paint. The other good thing to do, which is a little bit hard when you've got your drop sheet attached, but is when you peel it back, hang on, let me try to do it flush against it like this, rather than pulling at an angle like that. Pulling at this angle, you're more likely to lift the paint up off the wall. So pull it against, like a zipper. All right, so sometimes accidents happen. I don't know how this happened, but it did. Just wipe it up as soon as possible. Another reason why you should take that tape off as soon as possible. Now, you might also have a little bit of bleeding. It does happen. Again, because we've removed it while the paint is still a little bit wet, we can actually go along and just wipe that straight off. I like to use just like a Chuck's wipe or something that's damp, put my finger in it and use my fingernail to really get in there and remove all of that, and you end up with a nice clean line. If you don't have any fingernails, you can use a knife or a flat screwdriver or something. Obviously just don't press so hard that it scratches or puts a dent in anything. So there you go. This happens too. Sometimes when you're peeling off the masking tape, it takes a little bit of paint with it. So just use your cutting in brush and gently go over that as well, which I will attempt to do whilst holding the phone. Okay, easy fix.
I hope all these tips will help you on your painting journey, and just remember, have fun.